Hi, welcome to River's Knitting Chronicles. I'm River, your host, and it's been a really long time. I've had a lot of life stuff, and it's been stressful, but a different kind of stress than before. So all in all, I'm in a really good place, and I just had a lot going on, and I didn't want to do a show and then be gone for a number of weeks again and then kind of turn it into something kind of sporadic. So I wanted to feel kind of confident that I was ready to restart, and I think I am. Fingers and toes and things are crossed. I've been very busy, and so I have a lot to talk about. Knitting and positive life things, because I'm going to keep the life things to the happy things as best that I can. So yay. Let's start with some knitting. Okay, so again, I don't remember how long ago it's been since I posted, so if I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry. But at the end of November, beginning of December, gosh, has it been that long? Anyway, Gryffindor won the House Cup. Woo! Yay! Sorry if I just exploded your earbuds. Anyway, so we won the House Cup and we won the Quidditch Cup. I was very, very happy about that. To be honest, I wasn't as happy as I was the first time because, as you guys know, I didn't knit a bunch in the fall. I knit enough to keep my sorting priority, but not a ton more. So I didn't feel as much a part of that win as I had the first win that we had. So of course, winning just makes you want to win more. It's addictive. So I have really been knitting up a storm trying to win again and keeping both the House Cup and the Quidditch Cup with Gryffindor. And my plan, my personal plan for me, was to earn more points this term than I ever have before. And my previous highest point total was 335 points. For those of you who don't play, I know this all just sounds kind of wacky for those of you who don't play, but for those of us who do play, it really is a lot of fun. And if you are someone who has trouble getting projects finished or enjoys knitting but feels like you can't take the time and doesn't have the motivation to go through it, it's great for those things. And the people are amazing, all of them, incredible human beings to be friends with and to get to know and do stuff with and be on a team with. And all the houses are different, but and you are, I apologize for the shaking of you, and I will explain it in just a second, but I don't want to lose my thought train. Anyway, the points are motivating. We in Gryffindor love points. We also love to plan. We plan crazy outrageous. We plan to knit all the things every single term. It never works out the way we planned, but I figure that we plan enough that even if we don't do everything we planned, we still get a whole lot done. So that's great. As to why you're shaking, in case you didn't notice, you are in a new location. We moved about 3 feet, and the camera's backwards. We moved about 3 feet to the left, no, to the right, because it's a really rainy, stormy, yucky day. And normally I use the overhead light, a lamp, and then light coming in through the bedroom window. And it works out okay. I think that the light's not, it's not perfect and professional and all that kind of good stuff, but it's not terrible. But we woke up to thunderstorms and it has been raining all day, which is not typical. Generally in Florida, it rains for like 10-15 minutes of like someone's pouring buckets out of the sky and then it's over. So it's a weird all day rain thing. And so it is gray, dark outside. So I have very little help from that window. So I moved over. I'm sitting on the bed. I put teddy bear. Sorry if that's just distracting, but I figured we needed something back there to work. I meant to grab Fred and George, and I completely forgot to figure out a way to position them in this shot. And I think the top of my head's cut off. There we go. Okay, so goal. Gryffindor win again, earn the most points I've ever earned, past highest point score was 335, and really quickly, classes are 15 points, which means you start it and finish it in the month. Detention is 10 points, which means you started it at any time in the history of the world and you finish it in the month. An owl is worth 200 points, and that means you start it and finish it within 3 months. And then Quidditch, it depends on what the event is. And they tell you before each event how many points those are worth. So that's the basics. And then there's bonus points where the professors are like, oh, we like this, extra points. And there's also something called the super secret yardage bonus. So if you do something higher yardage in the span of a month, you can get bonus points for that as well. So that's the breakdown. Okay, so I've been knitting like crazy. One of the Quidditch events this term was a speed. The theme for Quidditch this time is becoming a professional Quidditch player. The storyline is that some people from the international, and if I'm telling this wrong, I apologize, but some people from the International Quidditch Association are coming to look at the talent coming out of Hogwarts. And so they're having us do all of these kind of compulsory events to show them what we can do. So one of the events was Speed Quidditch. And it actually went over, I think it was a 10-day span total. But if you finished it the first day, they gave you specific patterns. And you had to pick one of those. And if you finished the first day, it was worth 40 points. And then you take off 2 points a day until the last day was worth 20 points. So it was still more than a class. So there were a couple of hats and a couple of cowls were the patterns, and they had knitting or crocheting patterns. And I don't crochet. Everyone says it's faster, but it's not for me because I don't really know how to do it. So I chose a knitting pattern, and I chose a plain stockinette hat, which normally I don't care for just round and round stockinette, but I figured if my goal is that I'm in a race, like, is it ace? If that's my goal, then that'll keep it interesting. And the tournament started on a Saturday, I believe. It was either a Saturday or a Sunday, but it was on a weekend day that I could just wake up in the morning and just go to town. And it did take me the entire day, but I knit a whole hat in one day. The pattern is called the Hadley hat, and it was designed by one of my fellow Gryffindors. Her Ravelry name is A Divine Life. Hold on a second. Did I pull up her pattern? I didn't. Oh wait, I've got my key right here. Okay, the Hadley hat by Robin Divine. And let me pull you back up so I can see what you can see. Okay. I used, this is Malabrigo. I can't remember if this was Rios or worsted. So, but it's very variegated, which made the hat look pretty cute. It's very simple. Ribbing on the bottom, stockinette all of the way up, and then closed in on the top. I call them elf hats. I know that's not really what people call them, but when my students wear hats like this, and it sits like that, and you got this big old bunch of hat on the back, and I always tell them they look like elves. So to me, it's like an elf hat. It took me about somewhere between 8 and 10 hours. I'm really not a super fast knitter, but I had a really good time, and I was so beyond incredible. Yes, you know I have cats. I was so incredibly beyond proud of myself that I finished an entire hat in one day, because that doesn't happen. And I really, at this point, was thinking, I am a speed demon. I am amazing. I finished a whole hat in one day. Look at me. I can do anything in one day. So, thinking hat in a day. And that's not what I did for class last month, and I can't remember what it was I did for. Oh, I'll have to show it next time because I didn't get it. I did a baby hat. That is a gift for my sister. She is a photographer in Mississippi, and she does incredibly amazing work. Just beautiful. The stuff that she does is just amazing. And she has just enough, I hate to put it this way, but she has just enough self-doubt in herself that she's always learning new things and trying to take new classes and trying new things. She's not one of those artists who feel like I know it all, I don't have room to grow and expand. So she's incredible and still getting better every single day. She's just awesome. So she really helped us out with Christmas this year, my son and I, since it was our first single Christmas. And so I knit her. It's a flower hat, and it's so cute. It's got a little stem. I need to be sure to at least take some pictures and things and post them in the show next week if I get it, because I need to get it mailed to her. I've had it finished since January, and I just keep forgetting to get it sent off. Okay, so this month my goal was, again, hat in a day. One day, this hat. Granted, stockinette, but still, I always feel like I'm faster with lace. So I thought, okay, I will do a lace hat and I will finish before the Olympics. Because the Olympics and the Ravelinics, which are really the Ravelry Olympics, go ahead and send me a cease and desist all you want. Anyway, our Quidditch is not the Ravelinics this year, but the dates lined up. So my goal, because, you know, knit all the things, my goal was, okay, if I can knit that hat in a day, I can knit another hat in like, what was over a week. Certainly I can do that. Finish this other hat, and then I can do 3 projects that will be 750 yards over the course of Quidditch and earn maximum Quidditch points while still working on my owl and still holding down a full-time job and being a mother and feeding my child because he tends to think he needs to eat on a regular basis, and taking him to dance and all. Yeah, I wasn't thinking about those things. I was just thinking I could probably knit a hat. If I can knit that hat in a day, I can knit this hat in a couple of days. No. It took me, I want to say I just finished this hat this week. So it took me the bulk of February to finish this hat, but it is gorgeous. It is called the Foliage Hat. And as you can see, it's like a beanie kind of hat. And it's got leaves all through it. And no, I didn't finish it by Valentine's Day because the leaves are kind of heart-esque. So I thought that could have been cute. I hate that the red's not showing up the real color because it's really, really pretty. It is Mad Tosh Tart, if that helps you out with what the color is. It looks adorable. It's not a elf hat. It just goes complete. I'd put it on, but then I would not want to finish the show because after I took it off, my hair would be yuck. But it's called the Foliage Hat, and it is by Irina Dmitriev, Irina Dmitrieva. It is a free pattern. Be easier to look up Foliage Hat so that you could see it. What's weird, the only thing that was odd to me is that it said it could be like a beret or a kind of beanie hat, but there weren't 2 sets of instructions, and you could possibly block it with a plate in there and make it block to beret shape, but I just don't know that I didn't want to try it. I have enough beret hats. I really wanted a good beanie hat. The only bad thing is that it is really warmed up, and I strongly doubt it's going to get cold enough to wear this again this winter because it's so cute. But finally, I still haven't even turned it in. I need to get pictures in it so that I can go ahead and do my turn-in for Herbology, which is because it's got the leaves on it. So that's where that's going. And so now my plan is I still want to get at least something done for Quidditch, but there's no way by the 26th, which is what, Wednesday, that I'll get 700. Yeah, I really big plans. What I am trying to finish right now, and my goal was to finish this weekend, and I don't know. I'm afraid it's not going to happen. Kyra, fast forward a couple of minutes. I don't want to have to do that whole little thing, but just stop looking. As you guys remember, back, when was it, like August? The original plan for this was it was going to be for Kyra's birthday. And then it was going to be for Kyra's Christmas or her graduation, depending on which I finished it by. Neither. But I'm 2 decrease repeats away from being finished. Like, I'm that close. And I almost waited to podcast until I had finished it, but then I thought, no, because then it will be full dark outside and that puts me off another week, and I just didn't want to do that. So I thought I'll go ahead and podcast right now with it still being a wee bit on the needles. But for those of you who've been around knitting for a while, you know exactly what this is. For those of you who are newer to knitting, this might be a new thing for you, so I hope you like it. This is, which side do I have here? Okay. This is the Clapatee, and I did it scarf sized. Obviously it's not blocked because it's not finished. I hope you can see it. It looks gorgeous. And I had put it away for a while, and it's huge. It's huge. But I'm doing what's called a detention owl. So for my 3-month project, I'm doing 4 things that are detention, that would be detention things, but they're big enough and enough yardage that put together it would equal an owl, ordinary wizarding level examination, so it should take the 3 months. For the scarf size, I found these directions somewhere, and I tried to look them back up again, and I can't remember whose project it was in, which makes me feel bad. But I did... This is my cast-on edge, and, well, I guess it was more like a cast-on corner, I guess would be this corner. That's my tail. I did 4.5 initial for the increases, the repeats for the increases, and then I went to the straight ones. And I wanted to do 24, but A, it's huge, and B, I was running out of yarn. So I just did 18, and now I'm on the decrease section, so I've just got this little bit left to see, just that few number of stitches left on there to decrease down, and then we'll be done. I probably will not block it severely. I just don't want it to curl up and stuff, but I think it looks really pretty. The yarn is Malabrigo Sock. I can't remember the colorway, something about light, Paris light or something like that. But that's what I've got left. Doing it scarf, the full-size Clapatee shawl is something like 800 yards, but doing it this scarf-sized, you can do it with 1 skein of sock yarn, and I think it's a much better, it's easier to use, it's easier to wear, I think, in my opinion. So I really, when I first cast it on and was going, it was a little tricky. And then I got bored, and that's kind of how it got put aside because other things just seemed more enjoyable. And when I pulled it back out and got my approval for my owl, at first I was just loving it. And I could sit here and do a repeat section or 2 a night, and it was just flying. And then it was down to maybe a repeat section, and then it was down to I'd get about a row or 2, and I'd be sick of it, and then I'd pick it up, and I'd be lucky to get to the end of a row without putting it aside. And I think I have figured out my issue is that I should not be a monogamous knitter. I get bored, and I don't want to get bored with my knitting. So even though I do have a ton of things on the needles, I keep trying to force myself to finish one before I start on the other, and I need to not do that. I think next term that's going to be my goal, is I'm just going to cast a whole bunch of things on and not worry about how many other things I have cast on. And that way when I get bored with something, I can just pick something else up and no problems. And hopefully when we get to the end, all the number of things will be finished instead of 5 gazillion things not done. So anyway, so that's the Clapatee, which is part of my detention owl. Oh, and it's been living, it's not in there right now, but it's been living in this bag, which is a Slip Stitch Studios bag. And it's fitting because Kyra gave me this bag, so that's great. I also have, and this is not part of my detention owl, this is something I'm actually trying to finish for detention. This is a gift I was making for Chris, who is my daughter's boyfriend in London, and we've talked about him before, and they're soon to have some big news. Well, they technically do, but they haven't officially officiated the official. He hadn't put a ring on it yet, so yeah, not official yet. Just a lot of talk at this point, but we will see. But anyway, this is, and it's simply called Police Box Scarf, and it's two-sided, which is why I really hope that this part's going to block out, because if it doesn't, that's going to just make me cry. But so it's done in the round, and here we've got box, here we've got box. I'm on police over here, so I'm really close. I just put it aside to work on the clapetee and the owl. What I'm hoping is that it's going to really stretch when I block. It's in Malabrigo Rios. It's Paris Nights. So it's not entirely, it's a deeper blue than most TARDIS blues, but I think it works anyway. But because it's Malabrigo, I'm really hoping that we're going to be able to stretch, especially this. Yes, I know how to do color work. The problem was doing the color work in the round and pulling the color, because it said to do it stranded, and pulling the color from the back side to the front side. I think I wasn't quite loose enough, but I'm really thinking that this, if I'm really careful with it and do a good thorough job blocking, I'll get this to look right. It is a free pattern, and the bulk of the pattern is really just kind of giving you the lettering and stuff. It was really super, super narrow. I added an extra 10 stitches per side, and to be honest, if I were to make it again, I'd probably double that, or even go in and make the whole thing bigger, make the letters bigger and everything, because it's really super narrow, especially for a male. A grown man. Like my son could wear it, and he's 9, and it would look cute on him. I'm just afraid that even when it's finished and blocked, it's still going to look a little odd on a full-sized guy. But other than that, I really like it. I think it's really cool, and I like the idea of it. So I'm very happy about that. And it lives in this bag that claims to be bigger on the inside, but it's just regular size. Let's see. So what else? I can't remember if I ever shared these with you, but these are also a part of my detention owl, and these are the Bling Socks by Adrian Fong. I'm going to try not to move it and see what happens. Right in my face. The only thing that I'm not enjoying is that there are also beads right through the center, and for some reason you can't see them at all. They get hidden in the center stitches, but I love the beads down the side. I love the patterning. I really enjoyed working on these. They are, even for someone who loves lace, they are slow going. So these are part of my owl as well, and I need to get that finished by the end of March. There are 2 other things that are part of my owl. One of them is that cowl, the cowl from hell, which is what I want to call it, because it's been on the needles, I think, since in my personal infancy. It's been on forever. I really want to get it finished just because I don't want to think about it anymore. I want it to be done. It's beautiful, and it would have been nice to have this winter because it was so cold, but it didn't happen, and I'll have it for next winter, and we'll have another cold one. They happen every few years, so I'm not really out anything, and I will get that done. So what I have to have done by, there are 75 points on the line for the clapetee and the cowl, and I have to get them done by midnight California time on Friday. So I can finish. I'll finish the clap today, definitely. And I'll at least get some work done on the cowl today. And the cowl is really, there are so few pattern rows left. It's just a matter of sitting down and making myself do it. And 75 is a whole lot of points. And there's no way I'll make my most points ever goal if I don't go ahead and do that. So, excuse me. I have hiccups. So I'm not even going to show you that cowl again because I don't feel, I've got it sitting right there. I do not feel like getting it back out. When I've done work on it, for next week, hopefully it will be finished, and I will show it to you then. So I think that's about it for the knitting stuff. So next week the cowl, next week the baby hat, and if I do get anything done for Quidditch by Wednesday, I will show you that as well. And so there'll be even more, and I'll be able to show you the finished Clapatee, definitely, because that'll be done this evening. I wish I could knit and talk to you, but I just can't knit. I'm not good enough to knit without looking. So, because that would make life easier. Then I could just podcast all the time. One thing that happened that was fun when we did the hat, the try to knit a hat in a day Quidditch speed round with Quidditch. We did a Google Hangout, and that was interesting. People kept getting kicked out, and it was weird. We spent a lot of time trying to get people back in and stuff like that. But still, it was fun. It was something new and different. I'd never done that before. So I really, really enjoyed that. And then I could knit because there were other people talking, so I didn't have to look up the whole time. So I mentioned back a few months ago that I wanted to start sharing with you guys some of the other awesome things on the web that some friends of mine are also doing. And so I have a friend who I've known since I was, I think, about 14. We met when we didn't go to the same high school, but we met when we were both in high school. Then we went to college together. We did a play together called The Nerd, and he was the nerd. He played Rick Stedman, and I played Clelia in that show. And we've recently gotten back in touch thanks to Facebook, which is wonderful. And I've been having a good time being, getting reacquainted and get to know each other. He's got a great kid and a great family up there and great friends. He's living in Illinois, which is far and cold. And we're not cold here. That's Al wanting to visit. So anyway, short story long, sorry for that. He and some of his friends have formed a company called Ten Wing Media. And one of their many projects that deals with fantasy and sci-fi is a web series called The Con Men. And what they do is they go to different sci-fi / fantasy / anime conventions around the country, and they set up and do interviews and show you what it's like to attend. So they interview vendors, they interview convention goers, they interview people doing cosplay, they interview the people who are running it, just all sorts of things. So you really get a feel and a taste for what it's like to get to go to these conventions. And I don't know about you, but this country is huge, and we're not all in it. Some people are far away. So it's nice to get to see what's going on in other necks of the woods and other places, or to look at maybe this is a convention you might be interested in going to next year. So what was it like this year? What kind of people, although everybody they've interviewed so far has seemed awesome and like people I'd want to be friends with or go get coffee with or whatever. But anyway, since I know that a lot of us found my show from the House Cup, and I've got a lot of Whovians and lots of other people like that, I think you guys would really like his show. And so I'm actually refilming this in case you can't tell that the light is different because it is now full dark outside. But I tried to put a link because I know other people can do that. I have no idea how to do that. So I'm going to put a link on the blog in the show notes. I'll put a link in the drop, or at least where you can highlight it and go to, because I haven't figured out how to link in the drop-down box on YouTube either. And I will put a link in the Rav group, so you should be able to find that. Also, Chad was one of the top 10 finalists for a show called Inventern, and his top 10 thing was really, really cool. So if you're into any kind of stuff like that as well, I'll put a link to the video for his Inventern thing, so you can see that as well. So I think you guys would like it. I'm almost positive most of you guys would get a kick out of at least one episode of the Con Man or the Inventern video. So go watch them and then leave them a message that you're knitters and that your River sent you, and I think I'd get a kick out of that. So that would be awesome. Anyway, I've blathered on for long enough, and I think my dinner is finished, so I need to go get in the kitchen before I burn the house down. But thank you guys for watching. Thanks for coming back again. For anyone who has sent me a message, I plan to write you back hopefully very, very soon. I've just, again, been really busy and trying to get all the knitting done and everything so I can be doing shows again. But thank you very much. I appreciate each and every one of you, and thanks for coming back, and I hope to see you again next week. Okay, bye.